Hi, this is Sandra Stanley Stone, and I'm going to read a part of my book from A Spark of Blue Flame. Let me see. And it's the part of the book where we're introduced to the daughter while she's in her prison that her father has captured her and put her into. And it begins with, upon the stroke of midnight bells, the child slips from her cell. Mandy leaned her forehead against two wrought iron rails and looked over the balcony. Far below she could see rocks in a churning sea. Moonlight bounced like liquid mercury along the incoming waves, but a chill wind blew in from the sea and whipped her long hair against her shoulders. She licked salt from her lips. Although the balcony was uncomfortable, she thought it the best place to be in her tower prison. If she lifted her gaze and looked straight out to the horizon, she could see only water. But if she tipped her head back and looked up, she could see white flashes around the roof of her tower prison. Birds, she thought. If she watched them too long, they made her feel dizzy. She wished she too could fly above the tower prison into the spray of sea. She wished she were free, and she hated her father for locking her up. When she had first seen the keep, she had been excited. It had looked like a castle from King Arthur's days, and she had wanted to explore its every nook and cranny. But her father had locked her away. For your own safety, he had said. That had been over a week ago, and she still did not understand him. She wished her father was like other fathers, ones who laughed with their children, who took their children to the park, who hugged their children. He had always been very strict, and she had had to mind her manners and obey his every command. But now she was angry with him, and she felt rebellious. Why should she have to obey him and stay in this tower? Mandy remembered when her father had told her mother that they were going to Pittsburgh for the weekend. Then her father had driven them to a boarded up shack that led down into the bowels of the earth. Mandy shuddered, remembering the musty air like old, unwashed laundry. She had stepped carefully onto the first stone step and followed her father down slippery steps, twisting down and around. The light in her father's hand had barely illuminated wet gray stone walls where she walked behind him. She was just beginning to wonder if the steps would go on forever when they had come to a narrow passageway, the ceiling dripping with water. Afraid she would slip on the wet stone floor, she ran her hand along the wall for support. A many-legged bug skittered across the tips of her fingers. Shrieking, she slapped at her clothes to make sure it was not crawling on her. The light flickered over her. What's wrong, Amanda? Bugs, she whispered, and then she saw light coming from an opening just beyond her father. At the end of the passageway, she stopped, her eyes blinking from the glare of bright blue sky, and then stepped from the stone-floored granite enclosure onto soft, velvety green grass at the top of the hill. Curving around the bottom of the hill and angling to her left, a road led toward a purple mountain rising into the sky. When she had asked her father how they had ended up on top of a hill after traveling down into the ground, he had shrugged and said, I don't know. Maybe a space warp or magic. Mandy had wanted to laugh, but she dared not. Then a shrill whistle had pierced the air. Turning, she saw a large black horse gallop over the top of the hill and stop beside her father. In the saddle in front of her father, Mandy had seemed to fly down the hill along the road toward the horizon. Up a winding trail into the mountain, she spied a small village, but at once her attention was drawn beyond the village to a gray, stone, fairy tale castle that perched on the top of a mountain. Four tall turrets rose into a blue and vermilion sky, where the setting sun flashed crimson. One lone blood-red pennant flapped in the wind. Mandy thought it odd that the top of the turrets were capped with plain black metal roofs that looked like candle snuffers. Hmm. There's the keep, Amanda, her father had said. That is where we are going. Hmm. That's it for right now. And I'll be back later to read more stuff. Adios. Hmm.